Hello, this is Scotty Doggy, and today I'm going to be doing DLSS benchmarks on Call of Duty Warzone. For my PC, I have a Gigabyte Eagle OC RTX 3080 with an Intel 10850K and 32 gigabytes of Corsair DDR4 RAM overclocked to 4000 MHz. For the benchmarking, the display mode is going to be in full screen. The render resolution is going to be 5120 by 1440 and dynamic resolution is disabled. Nvidia Reflex Low Latency is enabled plus boost, and we are going to go through all the Nvidia DLSS profiles, which includes disabled, ultra performance, performance, balanced and quality. All the benchmarks were done on solo, and how I've done the benchmark is I've done a 5 match average using the lowest and highest graphical presets. And these are the two graphical presets that I'm going to be using today. And we start with the low preset with DLSS turned off. First match came in at 148.2, the second match 145, the third match 146.9, the fourth match 140.6, and the fifth match 147.7. Doing the math, that gives low preset DLSS off an average of 146 FPS. Moving on to the low preset with DLSS on ultra performance, we had the first match came in at 170 FPS. The second match came in at 173.4 FPS, the third match came in at 168.8 FPS, the fourth match came in at 158.3 FPS, and the fifth match came in at 176 FPS. Doing the math, that gives the low preset with DLSS on ultra performance an average of 169 FPS. Moving on to the low preset with DLSS on performance, we had the first match came in at 166 FPS, the second match came in at 172.2 FPS, the third match came in at 174.4 FPS, the fourth match came in at 165.5 FPS, and the fifth match came in at 161 FPS. And that gives the low preset DLSS on performance an average of 168 FPS. Moving on to the low preset DLSS on balanced, the first match came in at 163.2, the second match came in at 159.4, the third match came in at 160.9, the fourth match came in at 157.8, and the fifth match came in at 165.3 FPS. And that gives the low preset with DLSS balanced an average FPS of 161. And finally, for the low preset DLSS on quality, the first match came in at 149.3, the second match came in at 155.8, the third match came in at 159.8, the fourth match come in at 160.4 FPS, and the fifth match come in at 160.6 FPS. And that gives the low preset DLSS quality average FPS at 157. Now I thought I'd use the averages to compare the DLSS presets, so if you are on DLSS off and you were to turn it to the quality preset, you would gain about 11 FPS or about 8%. So going from the quality DLSS preset, if you were to down that to the balance preset, you should gain around about 4 FPS or about 3% in performance. Comparing DLSS between balanced and performance, I gained about 7 FPS or about 4%. Changing my DLSS from performance to ultra performance did very little, gained 1 FPS or barely 1%. And we move on to the high preset with DLSS off. The first match came in at 106.4 FPS, the second match came in at 109.4 FPS, the third match came in at 104.2 FPS, the fourth match came in at 98.2 FPS, and the fifth match came in at 105 FPS. and that gives the high preset with DLSS off an average FPS of 105. Moving on to DLSS with ultra performance on the high preset, we saw the first match come in at 166.4, the second match came in at 149, the third match came in at 160.6, the fourth match came in at 152.3, and the fifth match came in at 156.5. And working it out made the average FPS 157. With DLSS on the performance setting and the high preset, the first match came in at 155.1, the second match came in at 143.7, the third match came in at 140.4, the fourth match came in at 140.8, and the fifth match came in at 156.5. And that works out with the high preset with DLSS on performance an average FPS of 145. Moving on to the DLSS balanced on the high preset, we had the first match came in at 147.8, the second match came in at 154, the third match came in at 147.5, the fourth match came in at 146.5, and the fifth match came in at 145. So DLSS balance with the high preset comes at an average FPS of 148. And with DLSS quality on the high preset, we saw the first match come in at 140.9, the second match came in at 136.6, the third match came in at 127.3, the fourth match came in at 120.8, and the fifth match came in at 139.6. And that gave DLSS quality on the high preset an average FPS of 133. And following on from what I did with the low preset, now I'm going to compare the differences in the DLSS presets. So if we compare DLSS off to quality, I gained about 28 FPS or about 27% in performance. Changing the DLSS from quality to balance netted me about an extra 15 FPS or about 11% in performance. Moving on, changing it from balance to performance for me actually netted me a 3 FPS loss or about 2% in performance. Changing it from performance to ultra performance made a bit more sense. I gained about 12 FPS or gained about 8% in performance. Next, I thought I would compare the differences between the high preset and the low preset. So I start off with DLSS on off. So you gain about 41 FPS or about 39% if you change from high to low. So changing it to the DLSS on ultra performance, if you change from the high preset to the low preset, you can bag about 12 FPS or about 8% in performance. Changing the DLSS to performance, you can gain about 23 FPS or about 16% in performance from changing from the high preset to the low preset. With DLSS on the balanced, you can save about 13 FPS or about 9% in performance changing from high to the low preset. And finally, DLSS on quality, you could save around 24 FPS or about 18% in performance going from the high to the low preset. And the final comparison, I thought I would take a screenshot in each DLSS profile just to sort of give you an idea of what it looks like. And that's it for me in this video. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you've got any comments or any feedback, let me know in the comments. Thanks a lot.